Hello, everybody, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight we are back taking our very first look at the brand new Tier 7 British battleship, HMS Rodney. So, with that being said, let's look at our commander. We're running Azure Lane Nelson with Mikhail Kidrov and Azure Lane, or ARP Yamato, or just regular, I don't know what the difference, it's just Yamato, the commander. Okay? I've been using this as my Conqueror build. That's why it looks a little weird. Basically, it's all focused on gun traverse speed because British battleships are terrible with gun traverse. But Flammable Cannoneer, we've got Big 7, we've got Marksmanship, we've got Master Mechanic, and we've got Fight Fire with Fire. We've got Aiming Systems Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, Concealment System Mod, and we have the Epic Main Battery Mod 3. So for every 30,000 damage we get a little bit faster reload. We are running the Italian Unity flag because it kind of looks like a Spartan helmet if you squint. And we have the Type 9 camo that comes with the ship. Now, we do run the sonar rather than the engine boost. You could choose the engine boost if you like, but having the ability to spot torpedoes from a little bit further out comes in handy, as well as charging smoke screens. 4.4 kilometer ship acquisition range, not too bad. And it does come with an enhanced secondary targeting booster, which is laughable at best. Survivability, 69,100 hit points with a 19% torp reduction. Artillery, you've got 406 millimeter 45 caliber Mark I guns. You get 9 of those in a 3x3 configuration, all at the front of the ship. Reload time, base is 24.3 seconds. You can get that faster if you want. Like I said, I focused on 180-degree turn time because I know that these things are awful if you don't. 35.8 seconds is our 180-degree turn time, and that's with all of the boosts that I've done. If I didn't have those boosts, it'd probably be in the 50-second range. It'd be awful. Somewhere in that neighborhood. HE shell maximum damage is 6,902 with a 32% chance to set fires. It definitely feels like it has a lower fire set chance than the Nelson for some reason. I don't know what the Nelson's is, but it definitely feels worse. AP shell maximum damage is 13,920, so actually respectable from an AP standpoint. And don't be afraid to use the armor piercing. A lot of people are going to use this like a Nelson, just spamming HE the whole time. Promise, if you use the AP, you're going to be surprised at how good it is. Okay, same thing with the Nelson, but nobody uses AP on the Nelson for some reason. They're like, HE is just good. It's like, yeah, you can use that, but you can also use the AP when it is viable, right? Secondaries, you get 120 millimeter 40 caliber QF Mark 8s. You get 6 of those, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers, reloading in 5 seconds with a maximum HE shell damage of 1,700 and an 8% chance to set fires. And then, of course, you have 12 152 millimeter 50 caliber Mark 22s. They reach out to 5.2 kilometers as well, reload in 12 seconds, and do a maximum HE shell damage of 2,150 and a 9% chance to set fires. But you do have torpedoes on this thing. It has 2 torpedo tubes, one on either side of the bow, and as long as this ship is looking at you from the front, you can be torped within 7 kilometers, of course. Like if you're within 7 kilometers or you're traveling towards this thing, remember, these things have nuclear torpedoes, right? 29,367 damage. It's absurd. So if you take one of these torps, you're going to know it, right? It doesn't matter how much reduction you have, it's going to hurt. 1.7 kilometer detectability by sea for the torps, so they're not very sneaky torps, which is odd, but whatever. 7 kilometer range, that is the one drawback. It honestly would not surprise me to see people trying to like extend the range of these, but it's not worth it. All right, just save your torps for when you're going to be going after people, and you'll have good success. 67 knot top speed on the torps, so not the slowest, not the fastest. 20 millimeter Oerlikon Mark IV AA defense is terrible on this thing. I'll be real, like it's awful. 61 of them doing 220 damage per second, but it's only 2 kilometers. They got to be within 2 kilometers, right? So there's actually an argument, since you're going to be going up against a lot of carriers, there's an argument to drop the aiming systems in the first slot and just go for AA. Would it be something that I would do? Probably not, but I'm just saying, there is an argument. But the range of these AA are terrible, right? And that's the biggest issue. Then you have the 20 millimeter Oerlikon Mark V's. You get 31 of those. or sorry, you get 10 of those doing 31 damage per second, reaching out to 2 kilometers. 40 millimeter Vickers 2-pounder Mark 7s, you get 4 of those doing 14 damage per second, reaching out to 2.5 kilometers. And then the 40 millimeter Vickers 2-pounder Mark 8s, you get 40 of those doing 99 damage per second, reaching out to 2.5 kilometers. And then you have the 120 millimeter 40 caliber QF Mark 8 dual purpose secondaries. You have 6 of those doing 36 damage per second, reaching out to 4.5. So again, like, it's got some AA, but the problem is it's all such a short range that it's basically useless. You're going to shoot down a plane as it hits you, essentially. That's about as good as it's going to get. Maneuverability, it's slow as crap, as you'd expect. I mean, this is a Nelson. 23.8 knots maximum speed with a 760 meter turning circle. 12.4 second rudder shift with this build. So the rudder's not bad. Maximum movement speed is just not good. Put that in perspective. I think Kansas is like 25, 26. To put that in a sort of context for you guys. Detectability range by sea, 13.1 kilometers, so not bad. Not quite to Kansas spec. And I keep bringing up the Kansas because, again, like, it's a Tier 7 battleship. It's known for being sneaky. I'm sure old, what's-his-face, Zarky will be running Kondo on this thing, if I had to guess. But, yeah, detectability while firing in, 13.1 kilometers by sea, 11 by air, 2 guaranteed, and 14.7 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Stats? It's been win some, lose some tonight. The games have been over very quickly, one way or the other, so it's not really had a chance to really show off the ship a whole lot, but small sample size. Maybe you guys will have better. I mean, it's not the ship's doing bad, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but this thing has been averaging about as much damage over the first 10 battles as most of my legendary tier battleships. So it's a good ship. All right, we'll go over why that's a thing in a moment. Hey, look, armor. This actually has armor, unlike the Nelson. Okay, the Nelson has an armored belt. This does not have an armored belt, but it does have 30 millimeters everywhere. So not quite as good as most Tier 7 battleships in terms of its armor. But basically, the only thing you have to worry about is getting over-angled, which is very easy to do in a ship that has very flat armor. Look at that armor profile. It is flat as crap, okay? So if you over-angle, most ships are going to be able to punch through that armor, okay? So keep that in mind. But, yeah, that is the one thing that people have done multiple times today that I've seen in the games that I've played, where they just over-angle and then you just blap them through the cheek, right? It's still very flat. Even if it's 30 mil and I don't overmatch you, I don't have to overmatch flat armor, right? So keep that in mind. But the side plating, again, you've got 32 mils of side plating, so you can angle against everything to protect your citadel. But again, the area that's there that's 32 is pretty small. The 30 mil is gonna kind of get you in trouble if you over angle. But the citadel, just like the rest of it, like the Nelson and everything, the citadel is raised above the waterline by 1.5 miles. So if you do over angle, if you get pinned, you're gonna get slapped, right? So be careful, and you will get pinned at weird angles because of that flat armor. And God help you if you're trying to kite away and somebody with 18-inch guns overmatches your 30 mil. Okay, so Georgia, Musashi, they're gonna have field days with these Rodneys. They just will. They overmatch the entire ship essentially, except the belt at the waterline. But other than that, like, having 30 mils of armor is nice for a Nelson. Makes them even stronger than they already are. Superior AP penetration. Again, that's where this thing is going to shock you. This thing does have very good AP. I have blapped the crap out of a lot of ships today with the AP, so do not be afraid to use it. And you'll notice that I'm still running Big 7, even though this thing has good AP. Like, you don't necessarily need to slow this ship down. So that's why I kept Big 7 on. Big 7's going to give me a lot more, or a little more damage for the main guns, but it does reduce the penetration of those guns a little bit. But I have not had any trouble citadeling pretty much everything with this ship. So don't be afraid of this ship's AP. Unless, of course, you're on the receiving end. And then be very afraid of this ship's AP. Just like you would any other battleship. Greater heal. Repair party restores severe damage. All right, so it being a Nelson, like you guys already know, it's got the super heal. It's technically got a super heal that's slightly better than the Nelsons, and I'll go over that in a second. But big yield, above average torpedo damage. Yeah, these torps are disgusting. Rodney, one of the most formidable British Navy warships during the interwar period, Rodney featured a distinctive layout, with all three of her main battery turrets concentrated on her bow. The battleship had quite an eventful service history, participating in military operations in the Atlantic, Arctic, and North Sea, and Mediterranean during World War II. Rodney also played a key role in sinking the Battleship Bismarck. Yeah, that's right. You Bismarck folks better be on notice. Rodney's in town. In May of 1941, and she significantly contributed to the success of Allied landings in Normandy in June of 1944. She entered service in 1927. There were 2 of them in the series. Can you name the other one? But anyway, let's go look at one other thing. So this heal, I forgot to mention, this heal has 1,492 HP per second healing for 17 seconds. Now, I didn't do the exact math, but that is slightly better than the Nelson's heal. Okay, Nelson has like 1,300 for 20 seconds or something like that, or 1,200 for 20 seconds. So it's a little bit longer heal. But because this heals more per second, even though it's a shorter duration, you get more health back quicker, right? It's only 200 health back quicker or whatever it is, but it's more health back quicker. So, and you get 4 of them with this build because we have Master Mechanics. So that's always going to be a plus, right? All right, let's take a look at this thing. I think it's a good-looking ship, man, for what it is. I mean, it still looks like an overgrown oil tanker that has been fitted for war, but I like the camo a lot, and I mean, when you exclude the fact that if you get in a carrier game, you're going to be in trouble, it's a fun ship to play. It really is. You can use the HE and burn people. You can use the AP and slap people. It's got torpedoes that are going to sneak up and bite people. Like, it's a fun ship. It really is. So, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alright, so we're going to be on Northern Waters, and we are in the brand new Tier 7 British battleship, Rodney. And we're going to showcase the ship about as well as I can possibly showcase the ship in these particular circumstances. But one of the things that you're going to notice pretty early on is that this game is going to be over quickly. And that has been a theme for the last 2 years, it seems like. I swear, I don't know what's going on, but just every game, man. It's just like, I try to get some compelling gameplay, but if the games only last 6.5 minutes, there's not much I can do. Like, I don't care what ship you're in. 6.5 minutes is 6.5 minutes. But we're going to go over here to the right and try to play our ship. And I want to point out what is going on. First of all, we have a destroyer going into the middle, right? Our destroyer going into the middle is sailing like directly behind the island in the middle, and I don't recommend doing this for 2 reasons. One, you're not going to be able to spot for your team, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, spotting early in the game is one of the best times because then you can catch a lot of people broadside because they're making turns towards the edges, right? Most of the time people want to get out of the middle of the map. So, unfortunately, didn't get spotted until they started opening fire on our team. So our team is already behind the 8 ball getting absolutely punished for their turns, right? This is the difference between having a destroyer that spots and a destroyer that doesn't, okay? But that being said, as we get our first shot out at the Picardy, you'll notice that I have a cruiser right here. And this cruiser is going to push straight into the center, or straight into the cap in the center of the map. Yeah, you look at it, you're like, oh, he's not in the center of the map. He can't go anywhere. That's what I mean by the center of the map. He is hemmed in by the island to his right. So the only place he can go is either reverse, go forward, or go left. All 3 of those are bad options for a cruiser that is going to get yeeted. There's nothing I can do to help him, right? I can't help you if you go crazy and get yourself killed immediately. Alright, now, as we go to push up the right flank, I want you to pay attention to a couple of other things. We have 2 battleships on their way over to this flank. The enemy resistance is coming in, as well as an enemy Iowa. We're going to go ahead and try to go through the bow of the resistance. We do have 16-inch guns, so we can punch through the bow of the resistance. We just got to aim a little bit higher than you'd think. And then we go ahead and drop some torpedoes out there to see if we can't land some torpedoes. A little bit of reverse Uno against this resistance, right? He's used to being the one with torpedoes. So try to get him off, catch him off guard with the torpedo, and as we go bow in here, you can see I'm already in reverse. And we're going to take another shot with the AP straight through the bow of the Resistance. Unfortunately, Resistance outruns our torpedoes. Again, they're not the fastest torps in the world, and when you only shoot one at a time, it's pretty easy to dodge, right? Like, if you make any changes to your course whatsoever, it gets real easy to dodge those. Now, I do use my secondary booster here, just because I saw a secondary fire, and I'm like, oh, might as well use it. But, yeah, didn't do much. But here, we absolutely smashed the Resistance with a few shells from our guns, and you can see his torpedoes. Shocker. Nobody could have seen that coming. He gets 4 of them per side, so we knew we had to get out of the way. We were already in reverse for a long time. So dodging those, or I guess it's 3. No, it's 4. It's 4. 2 of them just like sat on top of each other somehow. But I digress. Our cruiser is beached on the island behind us. Our Resistance is right here. The Iowa's thinking about coming out, but at least the cruiser's been trying to burn stuff down. The battleships still haven't put themselves in a position to be all that useful yet, at least not for us. But so we're going to go ahead and start pushing forward. We know the Resistance has potentially got torpedoes ready, but I'm just kind of keeping an eye on what he's doing, right? You can see I'll use my torp tubes to be able to like measure up people and see what they're doing. But I expect him to slow down and go forward potentially, expecting torpedoes. So I go ahead and launch the torpedo a little bit in front. And then I look at potentially shooting the Iowa with a torpedo here as well. And you can see that the Resistance does change course, and he ends up eating the torp right on the snoot. So we take him down. As the Iowa comes around the corner, we're going to go high here, shoot the superstructure as best we can, and we absolutely smash him for over 13,000 damage into the superstructure, and then he starts shooting the battleships behind me because the battleship behind me is completely broadside. Shocker. So, as we push in, I'm trying to help get rid of these guys, right? I'm trying to get the cap. I'm trying to win this flank for our team. We've already got 60k damage. Iowa has committed to dying here. Regardless of what happens, we're going to kill this Iowa. Whether it's a teammate that kills him, whether it's me that kills him, I'm about to have my torps back. I go ahead and drop those. And as we go back into being bow in, remember, Iowa doesn't overmatch us. We have 30 millimeters of armor. He only has 16-inch guns. He cannot overmatch us. But he's not even shooting us. He's much more interested in shooting my teammates. And so we go ahead and just finish him off. Don't want to leave him alive any longer than necessary. Now, we're in the cap. We're grabbing it. We're going to go ahead and push forward. We got a PCRD over here as well. Unfortunately, Friesland is going to kill our destroyer. Both of our destroyers go down at the same time. A Z-23 got gunned down by an Akatsuki. I mean, that's embarrassing. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But being gunned down by an Akatsuki is hilarious if you're in a Z-23. At least it's hilarious to anybody who's not you. But as I push forward, I'm going to engage the PCRD. Now, you would think that we've won this flank. My team would be all too willing to put themselves in position to assist with this side of the map, right? Focus people down, come in, work together. No. That's not what is about to happen. Our cruisers have decided to once again put themselves right into the center of the freaking map. Their entire team was just spotted on the left side of the map coming into the center. They have spotters, we do not, right? So, yeah, our team is just going to commit to dying. One cruiser, to his credit, is kind of kiting away, so there's that. But then the battleship that's behind me is going to YOLO straight into the middle of the map. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Spartan, that battleship could be something really, really good, and it can hold its own. You'd be wrong. It's a Florida. It's a Florida. All right, do I need to say any more? Now, this PCRD is going to showcase exactly why these torpedoes just aren't as great as you'd think, because they just take too long to get there, right? Like, as long as these guys change course at all, they're able to dodge the torpedoes, because they just take too long. Now, here you can see we do get set on fire. We're going to go ahead and let the double fire burn for the time being. We do have our first heal, and we are trying to take this PCRD out. We're going to get a torpedo here as well. You can see 16,000 damage on him for the torpedo hit. And we're going to get some really unfortunate RNG for a couple of seconds here, as our guns are just going to like split up and not want to be near each other. Watch this.
Problem solved.
Looks like a good shot. 2 of the shells hit, 1 of the shell dropped short. Aim almost deck line. 2 of the shells hit, 1 of them dropped short. Aim almost deck line. And finally get the kill. All 3 of them finally hit the target. Like, at these ranges, there shouldn't be, like, shell drop, right? You wouldn't think. But unfortunately, we leave them alone just long enough, or leave them alive just long enough to get another fire. Now, fires aren't that big a deal to us, but look at the Florida. Like, what are you doing, brother? You got a Nelson out there, you got a Kansas out there, and, like, he's just not going to be long for this world, right? And then I've got to somehow come around the corner eventually and then fight all of these guys and their destroyers all at the same time because our Florida decided to overcommit. Like, there's no reason for him to push straight into the middle of the map in a Florida here. But is what it is. And at this point, I've already made up my mind. I'm just going to go forward, try to get as much damage as possible on these guys. I don't want to throw my health away initially. But again, it's going to get to a point where our Florida's dead before I ever get a chance to, like, help him. And you can see he just immediately dies. Now, I could have played the long game here, tried to keep my distance, but again, they're going to spot me. They're going to be able to shoot at me. I wanted to get a shot on this Nelson because he's basically broadside to us. I thought there was at least an outside chance that I just kill the man outright. But unfortunately, we don't kill him. We just slap him real hard. And of course, the Friesland sitting in a smoke screen here. We just fired our guns, so these guys get to continue seeing us. Their destroyer is in the middle of the map as well. So he's able to spot for his team. So even though nobody would be able to spot me right now because of the smoke screen from that Friesland, the destroyer on the left is spotting me. So here we just go ahead, we load up the HE because I was going to shoot the destroyer, given the chance. We end up getting a double fire on the Kansas, and of course he's running fight fire with fire. He was already on fire, so immediately damage controls for him. And as you can see, I've got my sonar running. I'm hoping that I get him spotted, but unfortunately he gets behind the island before I ever get a chance to use the ability to get rid of him. You can see Kansas is still broadside. We get another fire. I mean, their cruiser's going to drop bombs on us, or at least try. We're able to dodge those, fortunately. The Akatsuki is still full health with a maximum of like 11,000 hit points and somehow managed to gun down a Z-23. You gotta love it, right? You gotta love it. Again, I don't know what happened to the other side of the map. All I can do is just try my best to win the game for our team. Probably should have went back to using AP here. Would have probably killed the Kansas, but it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day. It's too much firepower against us, and we're just not going to be able to survive long enough to get another heal. But it is what it is. We did our best. Sometimes you're just going to get in a game where it's just not going to be winnable. And 1,800, almost 1,900 base XP and a loss is not too shabby for a battleship. But let me know what you guys think. Have you guys gotten the Rodney? Is it interesting for you guys? Because it's a fun ship to play. But yeah, sometimes you're just going to get into games that are just hopeless. So let me know what you guys think. If you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.